Dear students, in this video we are going to see how to develop a Java application with the MySQL database. To work with, first we download the MySQL configuration and install the MySQL server, MySQL workbench and the MySQL shell. To do that, in the Google we have to type the MySQL download.com. Have to download the MySQL and download the MySQL. Open that web page, MySQL, go to downloads. In the downloads, in the down, we have to go with the community downloads and MySQL installer for Windows. And then the default configuration of Windows will be there. If you want to change according to your operating system, and you can change the operating system. Now for me it is Windows, so I am selecting the Windows and then I go for the next one, that is MySQL installer for the community edition. So when I click download, it will have an option, no thanks, just start my download. So it will start to download the version of your MySQL server. So this is the thing only, I have it in the screen also. So first we have to install it. So type just MySQL. And then in the MySQL, go with the downloads option. So in the downloads, you go with MySQL community download and select the MySQL installer for Windows. And in the thing, we have an operating system, depends on your operating system, you select it and download the community edition. And click just no thanks, just start the download, so you will get the installation file. So once the installation file is there, you double click. So already I have downloaded and installed, so that I am just giving the screenshot of it. After downloading the installation file, double click, you will get the window and in that you select the custom and click next. So here we need to install three different information, that is the server. Select the server inside the MySQL server and then add it. And you click this, it will be added here. And then select the workbench and then followed by select the shell. So all three information you select it and add it in the right side, the products to be installed, and then click next. So now this is ready to install. So once it is ready, you have an option is complete. So all the installation is complete. And you click next, it will ask you to set the username and password. So you can choose the username and password. So I have selected with root, and root as the username and root as the password. So after setting the username and password, again you click next. So it will do all the configuration inside your system, and finally after the configuration you just click finish. So once it is finished, your workbench will start to work and your shell also start to work. So now the server is installed. So you want to have it in your server path. That is your system path. We need to configure the server configuration. So defaultly it will be installed under the program files, MySQL, and in the MySQL server bin. So you open that particular folder. So you just copy the path. So the path will be copied. You copy the path where your SQL server get installed. So you just go with your C drive, program files. There you have a MySQL folder and the version of the MySQL server and then bin. You just copy that path name, and this path you have to set it in your environment, system environment settings. So to go that, you have to search the system environment in your Windows. So just you type it here, environment. So you will have the edit system environment, open the system environment. And then here you have the environment variables. So click the environment variable. There you have something called as path. You need to add the MySQL server path in the system settings. So click path and then you just edit. Then you click with new. After clicking new, it will create a new thing here. Then whatever thing you copied, that you have to paste it here. So already I have pasted here. My SQL server path is ready. So after pasting it, just click OK. So your configuration is ready. So this is the same steps only, I have it here. So go with advanced In the advanced, you check with environment variable and then go with path. In the path, you set the path of your SQL server. Double click. So click with new. It will create your new version to be entered. And that new variable, you have to add it with your SQL server environment. So once it is ready, you want to verify whether it is installed properly. So for that, you just go with your command prompt. So in the command prompt, you just type MySQL version. So it will tell you the version, whatever installed, that will be highlighted here. So you can able to know, yes, MySQL is properly installed in your system. Then I want to log into the system. So I have to give the user is root and then what is the password. So I have to enter the password I have configured. So now I can able to know this thing also. The Oracle is welcome to the MySQL environment. So it is installed. So you can able to see the things available. It is properly installed inside your system. After that, you want to know what are the databases already available in your MySQL server. So you can just give show databases. So I can able to know what are the databases already available. This is the database I have created previously. So that database and along with all the system databases are available. So from here itself, you can create a database, you can create a table. So using the shell itself, you can work with all your commands in your database. But we want to have a GUI environment or the interface so that it is easy for you to create the database, handling the table, adding the data inside the table and all. So to continue with that, you have a command prompt, and the command prompt you can verify by using the version, and then you can verify by using the root. You can log into your MySQL server using the root and the password. Now instead of using with the command prompt, I have to use the interface to do the informations in my MySQL server. So to work with, after installation, I have my MySQL workbench. So open the workbench. So my username and password is already defaultly configured. So it won't ask me the username and password. So defaultly it is login. Otherwise, sometimes it will ask you the root password. It will ask you to enter. So you can enter your password here. So after entering your password, you can able to have your GUI where you can create your database, followed by you can create a table, and you can provide the schema of your table and add rows, edit, everything you can do it. So to create a database, in the left side panel, just right click in the schemas panel, right click, so it will ask you to create a schema. So in the schema, I need to just create user DB. So I need to create a user database. So I am giving my schema name is user DB. That is my database name. So inside the database, I can create any number of table. So now I just apply. So the schema get created. So user DB get created for me. And now I need to create a table. So just right click, create a table. So you just give a table name. So my table name is user data. Within the table, I'm going to hold two things. One is the user ID and another one is the user name. So I have to go with my column names. That is the fields, whatever I want to maintain in my table, I need to do it. For example, if I am using a product information, then I have to have a product ID, product name, count, then money, student information. Then I can have a student register number or the name of the student, then marks of the student, grade of the student. If I am using the employee schema, I can have the employee ID, employee name, then the salary details. So basic information you want to maintain, that all you can keep it inside this table. So I have a column name, I need to have it user ID. So I need to have it as a primary key. So I am just clicking it is a primary key. Primary key means it should be unique and not null. The fields in that particular column will not be null. Then I have the user name. So I have user underscore name. So user ID, I am going to have it as an integer data type, and the user name I am going to have it as a varchar data type, and that also I don't want to have null values, so not null I have enabled. So now I just apply. So once I apply, so this is the corresponding SQL command to create a table. Create table with a name as user DB. Inside that user DB, the table name is user data, which having two fields, that is the ID and the name, where the ID is acting as a primary key. Now we apply, your table get created. Explore here, your table get created. So now you want to add some rows inside the table. So just click here. You want to know what are the values available. So basically we have the queries insert, update, delete and select. So select will help you to retrieve the data from your table. So the user ID I am going to give 101. User ID I am going to input 101. The username is John. Then I am going to give a next value 102. Then I am going to give us James. So I am going to insert these two rows. So the command used is insert. Insert into schema, that is your database name, followed by table name. The two fields are user ID and the name. For that values, you have the value as 101 John and 102 James. So apply. So these two rows are added inside the table. So here this is the schema of your table. What are the columns? All these informations will be available here. So you want to see it, just click it here. It will allow you to see what are the rows are already available in that particular table. So now this SQL Server Database you want to integrate along with your Java application. So to do that, we just go with again in the Google. We just need a JDBC connectivity. So this JDBC we need to download. So JDBC download. So you have here download connector, because this JDBC only act as a connector between your MySQL server and the corresponding application. So suppose I have a Java application here which is running in the Eclipse environment, and I have a MySQL server. So I need to have a connector or a driver, okay, or a driver. So here I am using with the JDBC driver, and using that I am trying to provide a connection between, so that I can able to access the data available in my MySQL server inside my Java application. So like that you can have a Oracle server, you can maintain your data in the Oracle database, or you can maintain the data in your Access database. So for that you need to have the corresponding connector that will connect your server data inside your Java application. So to download, I just go with download connector, and here I need to select the operating system. So I am selecting the operating system as platform independent, because I want to connect with the Java application. Java application supports the platform independent. So here either you can download the tar file or the zip file. So you can just download, and you can just click no thanks and just you start to download the file. So now once it is ready, so now download platform independent, you can just download. You can just have the download connector, and then after downloading you just have it no thanks. So now this is your zip file which is downloaded here. So just double click and you can extract the files inside the zip file. So inside the zip file you have something called as a jar file. So this jar file only going to act as a JDBC connector, which is going to connect with your MySQL server with the Java application. So you just extract the zip file, copy this jar file, okay? Copy the jar file in the desktop. Copy the jar file in the desktop. So now we will open the Java application and we will see how we are going to connect the data available in the MySQL server inside the Java application using this jar file. So now we'll open the Eclipse environment. I'm going to create a project. So file, new, create a Java project. I'm going to use with JDBC connect. Click finish. Don't create. Now my JDBC connect is ready. I'm going to create a new class. Data demo public static void main. So to include the jar file inside my project, I need to just go here, right click, create new folder. So I'm going to create a folder with the name called as driver and click finish. And I'm having that jar file. So that jar file I'm going to copy and paste inside the driver folder. Okay. So my jar file is already I have extracted and keep it in my desktop. So that jar file I'm going to copy inside this driver folder. So I have the jar file here. Copy. Then I'm going to paste it here. So my jar file is now ready here inside the driver folder. So this jar file need to be configured inside the Java application. So to do that, just right click, go to build path. In that configure build path and libraries, select the class path, add the jars. So the jar file is available inside our driver folder. That you select the jar file, click OK and then apply. Apply and close. So now this jar file is configured with our Java application in the Eclipse environment. Now we are going to verify the MySQL Server Database, whatever we created, that we are able to access inside our Java application. So to work with, we need to have a connector code. So this is our connector code. I just copy and paste. After that I will explain to you. So this is the connector code. So we have the driver manager, which is a class available in the Java package. So where we have the get connection is a function. There you have to pass the URL of your MySQL server. So this is my server name, JDBC connector for the MySQL server, which is installed in the localhost with the port number 3301, and the schema I want to connect, or the database I want to connect inside my server. So I just go and check what is my database name. My database name is userdb. So this userdb I am going to give here, and this is the password. The first one is the username and the next one is the password. So once it is given, so I am going to verify whether the connection is made successfully or not. So to use this connection object, we need to import the driver manager, which is available in the package called as java.sql. That only support all the functionalities available in your SQL server. Also, we need to include the package for the connection object, that is the java.sql.connection. So instead of doing separately, you can put the star so that all the classes inside this package will be imported inside your program. SQL server is the checked exception. So this will throw an exception called as SQL exception. So it need to be handled during the compile time itself. So I am going to add the throws. So now this is ready. I am going to execute and verify. So the connection is success. So now I am going to write a 2-line of code which will help you to access the table whatever you created in the SQL server. The table name is user data, which contains 2 fields, ID and name, and it has 2 rows. So these 2 information I am going to fetch it and I am going to display inside my Java application. So to do that also I have a code here. the code. First one statement is called as create statement. As I told, I can work with my table by basically using 4 commands, that is select command, insert command, update command and delete command. So now I am going to retrieve the values available in the table. So I am going to select the rows available in my table. So to work with any statements, that is the SQL statement, either it is a select query, insert query, update query or delete query, first I need to create an object for the statement. That I am going to create by using the connection. I have created the connection object. Using the connection, I am going to create a statement. So in the statement, I am going to write what is the statement I want to execute. The statement I want to execute is select star from user data. So user data is my table name. Star represents I want to extract all the columns, that is I have 2 columns, ID and name, all columns available from my table. And this statement I am going to execute it. So execute query. The statement I have to pass it here, I need to use a function called as execute query. So when I execute, all the rows in my table will be stored in an object called as result set. The results whatever retrieved from the table, everything will be stored in the result set. Initially my pointer will be pointing the column names. So now I want to move the cursor to the next position. So that's why we are using here called as rs.next. So it will go to the first row of your elements. And I need to go until there is no rows have the element. So until while I have to repeat, move my pointer to every rows to fetch the data. So to fetch the data, the result set containing 1 row at a time. The first field, I know that it is a ID value of the user. The ID value is generally integer because in the schema itself, whenever we created ID as an integer and name as the varchar. So to extract the ID value, we use the getInt. So this is the first column, that is the index value is 1. Then the next column, the data type is string, and this is the column name is 2, or the column position is 2. So that position we have to give as 2. So like that, this while loop get repeated by moving the result set pointer to the next rows until the row is empty. So now we retrieved all the rows using the while loop. Now we execute. Yes, so we can able to see the rows which were available in our table, that is retrieved in our Eclipse Java program. Suppose we are going to add some new rows there. So I am going to add some new rows, 103. I am going to add some value. So I am going to apply, so a new row get inserted. So now I am going to verify through my code whether I can able to see the new row added in my table. So yes, the new row also I have retrieved. So in this video, we have seen how to download the MySQL Server configuration and verify the installation, and followed by we have installed the JDBC driver. We downloaded the jar file, and then we created the Eclipse program, and within that we included the jar file and added in the build path. We made a connection between our SQL server and the Java application through this jar file. And by using the connection object, we provided the connection with the JDBC server, and using the statement object, we are executing the query which you want to execute, and followed by the result set object containing the results retrieved from the table. Using the result.next, you can able to retrieve 1 by 1 row from the table, and here this getInt will represent the data type of the column, the first column, data type of the second column, so that you can able to retrieve the values from the rows which is available in your SQL server. So you can do this for doing the insert query, update query, delete query. Also you can include, and you can verify whether all the functionalities are working in your JDBC application. Thank you.